Hello, welcome to the Managed Services Platform on Account Management episode 4. And today we are going to talk about meetings, how to get engaging meetings with clients. I'm Dana Spunhauser, your host, and welcome Miles Ozon, who is going to share his wisdom with us today. Hi Miles, how's it going?
Very good, thank you.
So I hear this problem from managed services every time that we are not having the quarterly business reviews with the right people, we are not meeting with the CEO, we are meeting with the office manager, or they just don't want to have the quarterly business reviews with us. They seems to be not engaged. Many services have different type of reports showing to the clients, but the once or twice they have the meeting, and after that it's not really that engaging. Like, do you know what's behind that, Mice, and how to overcome these problems?
Start by taking a look at the previous experience your clients have had with these types of meetings. And whether it was with you or maybe with another provider, or maybe they've just never had an experience like this before, and they're worried it's going to be another sales call. So a lot of it is going to be understanding their perspective and making sure that you can communicate the value of what the meeting is going to be about, and that it's going to be about helping them and bringing that value to them. Previous meeting concerns are a big challenge. Unfortunately, we work in a very technical industry, and for many office managers and CEOs and decision makers at client sites, they've had a bad experience meeting with their support companies, their support vendors, like an MSP or an IT solutions provider coming in and talking about how many tickets they've closed and response times and up times and speeds and feeds, instead of talking about that business's actual needs. And that's not something most business owners really want to take the time out of their day to review in person. In fact, in many cases, those types of things can be delivered by email and may not even really have value, unless that's a particularly technical client. That's probably something they just expect that you're on top of.
Yeah, there is an example of we are renting this office, and the how the story goes. You know that.
Oh yeah. So I mean, would you? Everybody has office cleaners that come into your office, and it's very important to have a nice, clean, tidy office. But would you take a lot of time out of your day? Would you go meet quarterly to spend an hour to find out how many rolls of toilet paper were replaced by the office cleaners, or how many times they mopped the floor, or how many bags of garbage they took out? Probably not. Probably wouldn't be a meeting you'd want to take a bunch of time out of your day for. And not to say that things like toilet paper aren't extremely important, just like backup, just like good security practices, or anything. If you don't have them, it's a big problem. So you want to make sure that you're able to communicate the value of your services, but not from just your perspective on how they're delivered, but from the business owner's perspective on how it can impact their business.
And so actually, like how I see that from our perspective, from the platform perspective, is that there are two different things to take care of. First of all, what is the content of the meeting? So who is going to have this meeting and what's going to be the topic? More strategic, more business wise, the higher level of engagement we can have. The second thing is actually how to perform meetings in a professional way, which is showing more value. These account management people have the chemistry right with their clients, so it's easy to go there and have fun and have a little bit of casual meeting. But sometimes we need to have a little bit more formality there to actually raise the value and make sure that's going to be, sustainable. Can you give us some hints, Mice, how to make like a meeting way better with different formal aspects?
Yeah, absolutely. It's you've got to have an expectation for what the outcome of the meeting is going to be. If it's just a casual thing, drop off a coffee, shake hands, say hi, the hugs and high fives kind of meeting. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you really want to drive business value and you want to actually get time from a CEO or a C-level executive, plan the meeting with the expectation of what type of value you're going to deliver from their perspective. So that means preparing for it. I mean, understanding that you're going to have to pre-qualify their time. You're going to have to let them know what value you're going to deliver, which means you actually have to put in the work to do that. Making sure that you've got some type of an agenda or way to control the meeting and control the flow of the meeting, and to be able to deliver it in a timely fashion so you don't get sidetracked. It's really easy to, go off on a tangent and talk about something that maybe came up in their office, or a particular ticket that was closed or problem that was resolved. But have a way to keep that on track and more formal.
Okay, so what about like follow-ups? What about like how to use, or how to leverage any tool for that? Because many times it's like great to have like an agenda and follow-ups and everything, but we are taking notes in our Evernote, and how to make sure that's going to be a habit, how to make sure that's going to be more as a as a best practice for all account managers, right?
Yeah. For sure. I put all that into our report. So I've got, my meeting 1, meeting 2, meeting 3, meeting 4 with my agendas, with what I want to be talking about, places to take notes, guides that are also, as an account manager for me to be able to direct and control the flow of the conversation. And then also to be able to close the loop. You've always got to make sure that as you get towards the end of the meeting that you're setting the next steps. There's always got to be definitive next steps. So whether that's booking the next meeting, planning the next engagement, however that's going to be, there's got to be something. So, I like to embed a calendar booking tool into my meeting agenda, because that way it's a reminder for me. Okay, what do we have to do next? Oh yeah, we have to book the next meeting, because that's how we're going to make sure we close the loop. Because I know that as soon as I get out of that meeting, it's going to get busy again. And if I don't have that next meeting booked, it might not happen.
Yeah, I get that feedback from a couple of customers, mice, who put these Calendly links and embedding stuff into the report and the agenda, that they told me that it really helped to stay on focused, and it helped to show the customer what they're gonna go through during the meeting. When they did the follow-up, it was easy to pick the different things and send by email. When they had the next meeting, they were able to review the last agenda, last to-do items, what was done, and distribute it for the client and for the managed service side. And what I get back from them was more likely, we did that the same kind of casual meeting, but because of some kind of structure, the value for the customer was way more tangible and more professional than just wing it, basically. So probably gonna have like a couple of examples on this article below, but anything else, Mice, to show or how to increase this type of value of our meetings to make sure people are going to be engaged?
You really got to make it all about them. But the more you structure the conversation and the more you think about ahead of time the value you want to deliver that's from their perspective all about them. Typically business owners care about 3 things: profitability of their business, and think about it from your perspective, profitability of your business, the productivity of their team and their staff, how effective their teams are able to work towards that profitability, and then the continuity in the life cycle of their business. So profitability, productivity, and continuity of their business. If you keep those value propositions in mind in this meeting and you plan it, it's amazing how much easier it is to deliver. Even myself, when I structure my meeting agendas and all of that in our tool that I do with our members, it just makes the time go by so much more effectively, and it's so much more comfortable, and it's so much less work. It takes the anxiety out of the meeting, and really, if that's the other side of if your QBRs aren't happening and your meetings aren't happening, it's not always necessarily that the client doesn't want to do them. It's maybe you're not making it easy for yourself or for your team. And if there's any excuse not to do something, like especially when it comes to meeting with people, that's always the hard part of our jobs. Any excuse not to do it, and it might not happen. So try to make it easy, make it valuable for everybody who's participating in it, and it's the success follows after that.
That's really valuable, and I just want to highlight that one of your clients we had an interview with was explaining that they were storing these three things you mentioned: the profitability, effectivity, and the risk, on one item inside the report, and they reviewed that part every meeting. So what was really interesting, how these perception was changing for the customer and how much it was staying the same. And when the same thing happened and came up like third time, they were able to underline, like, you have to get like a CRM, because you are just telling all about sales problem on the last 3 quarters, and you haven't been able to solve this problem. Let us help you. Now that's landing on a foundation, not just, oh, I want to sell you a CRM or something like that. No, we want to help, how technology can actually help. And that's a business problem probably they're going to have. And I'm sure you don't have a CRM to sell, but helping them to choose or have something about that, it's really under your responsibility. So I think it's really great to focus on the business. So Miles, thank you very much for your wisdom today. And so the next episode we are going to talk about pre-qualifying clients to different solutions for projects or new services, and that's what we're gonna have next week. Thank you very much, and see you next week.